Hello everyone and welcome to Nancy's Magic Touch and DIYs. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome, and if it's not, thank you for your support in coming back. In today's video, I'm transforming 3 thrift store items into absolute beauties. So let's get started. I got this beautiful flower jar at the thrift store. It is a very good size and I like the shape of it. I'm not a fan of the design on it, so I'm going to do it over. But first I'm going to give it a clear coat and the matte finish of the protector, and that way the paint will adhere to it properly. And once that's dry, I'm going to give it 2 coats of this white chalk paint in Rust-Oleum, and then we'll go from there. I'm taking my chalk paint in white linen. This is the same paint as the spray paint that I used, and I'm going to mix it with some baking soda. I want my jar to have somewhat of a plaster texture, so I'm going to mix not quite half-half, but I want a pretty thick consistency to this paint. And then once I mix this up really well, I'm going to apply 2 coats of this paint onto my jar. I have these beautiful napkins that a friend of mine shared with me, and I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 of these pieces all around the edges. I'm going to put a rag underneath my jar as it has got the plaster feel, and I don't want to damage it while I'm working on it. And I'm also going to put my little paint container on top just to give it a little bit support to make it easier for me to work. Now you have to make sure that you take the other ply of this napkin off and just be left with 1. Now I'm going to use my matte finish Mod Podge, and I'm going to place the napkin in place, and I'm going to go section by section while I'm doing this because it makes it easier where it's such a big piece. And also you will see me snip some areas because this is a circle napkin in a circle jar and it's going to have too much pleat at some point, so I'm going to cut it so that it doesn't kind of overlap. I'm just realizing that although I told you to make sure to take all the ply out, I left one in myself. Yes, I do make mistakes sometimes, but it's an easy fix. I'm carefully going to remove this top part and then rip the other part off the bottom carefully and then start over. I'm speed drying the process a little bit, and I'm rubbing with my finger very lightly just to press down some of this paper that has some kind of a pleat or somewhat in it. I'm going to go ahead and apply 2 more coats of this Mod Podge on top of my design, drying in between, of course. If not, you will damage your surface. So make sure you allow time to dry between each coat. I went ahead and repeated the exact same thing on the other side. I wanted both sides to have the print on it, And now I'm going to use that same protector that I used at the beginning and give it 2 good coats, allowing to dry properly in between. Now I want to add a little finishing touch to this jar, so I'm going to use this rope and wrap all around the handle. Now I'm not going to glue this rope on the handle, as if I want to remove it, I don't want it to damage my paint. So what I'm doing is just a wrap around one turn and then gluing to the first turn that I did. So I'm gluing on the rope rather than the handle. Now I see on top here that I have some paint showing through where my rope is, so I'm just going to go ahead and squeeze that together. I'm also using my scissors to just cut any little fringe of this rope that is sticking out. You could use a lighter to do this and just burn whatever's sticking out, but I don't want to do that. I'm just using the scissors and giving it a little trim. And here is the final result. I just love how it turned out. The handle gives it a very nice rustic look. I filled it in with some beautiful greeneries and added a nice beaded loop to it. And this gives a perfect farmhouse look. I got this beautiful piece at the thrift store. I believe it's a calendar holder, and I'm just removing the knob on top. This was to hold a calendar, I'm guessing. And now I'm going to give this piece a really good cleaning. I'm using the same white linen chalk paint as in my flower pot, and I'm giving this piece 2 good coats, allowing to dry in between. I almost forgot about this little knob. I bought these little circle plates at Michael's, and I'm also going to give a coat of paint to this with my linen white chalk paint. I'm using another one of those beautiful napkins with my matte Mod Podge again, and I'm going to apply this napkin the exact same way. The only difference is I don't have to split the napkins in some areas because I'm applying on a flat surface rather than a curved surface, so this makes it so much easier. Now I'm using a sanding block just to get rid of the extra napkin all around the circle plate. I'm applying 2 more coats of Mod Podge, allowing to dry in between. I got my piece all ready and I ended up giving it 3 coats of paint as it was hard to cover. And now I'm ready to take this piece that I got at the dollar store. It looks like a fence thing for garden. So I'm going to use a piece of this in the front of my calendar holder. And I'm going to cut a piece off to the length that I need. So I cut it a little bit longer than I needed, and I'm simply removing this part so I can actually secure this end. Now that I have this piece all ready to go, I'm going to remove it for now and start sanding and distressing this piece. I'm using 180 grit sand foam that I have, and I'm just going to sand it until I like the look. But that's preference. You could leave this completely white if you like it this way. I just love a good distress look, so I'm gonna go ahead and distress this piece. Now I'm giving this piece a really good wipe so I can get rid of all this dust. Now my piece is ready. I am going to put in place my little fence that I cut up. And to apply this, I'm going to use some generous amount of hot glue. I do not want to use permanent, as I may want later on down the road repurpose this piece or somewhat. And I feel that the hot glue is going to be sufficient to hold this in place, as it's not something that you would maneuver a lot. It's something that will be on the wall. So I think the hot glue will do a great job. Now I'm using a little piece of metal wire along with some wooden beads that I have on hand, and I'm going to create a loop for my circle that I made with the welcome on it. And I'm going to go ahead and find the smallest beads that I have and put enough on this metal wire to the length that I need. I want to make sure that this little bead attachment that I'm putting is not too long. I want my welcome sign to be high enough and not too close to the fence. So this looks pretty good, but I think I may remove a few. I need this to be a little bit higher. Now that I have the length that I want, I'm just twisting the ends so that the beads doesn't come off. And I'm using my Dragon Breath stain to stain these beads. It's the closest color that I could find to this fence. So I'm going to give a good coat of this stain to the beads and then wiping it off with some paper towel. Now I'm twisting the ends of each side of this handle that I created and making sure that I have enough wire to hot glue to the back of my circle welcome sign. Now that my handle is nice and secure, I'm using 3 of these cubes. And the reason why I'm using these is because when I have my welcome sign on the top of my piece on my knob, it is not level with the back piece. So I want to make sure to give it a support so that it's at the same level as the knob on top, if that makes sense. Now I'm simply filling the back of my fence with the same kind of greenery that I used into my flower jar. And also want to mention that you could create many of these signs to match different occasions and seasons, and that you could interchange these signs within the year. For example, this beautiful bunny napkins, and you could have some flower colors that are in the napkin. In this case, yellow is very suitable. And that would be awesome to be able to interchange with the season. I forgot to protect this piece, so I'm going to remove the flowers and give this piece 2 good coats of my protective spray in the matte finish. And here is the final result. How cute this piece turned out. I use the same napkin and greeneries as in my previous project, and this little picket fence is just the perfect added touch for a farmhouse look. The beaded handle on top of the sign is just perfect to match the color of the fence, and not to mention about, again, interchanging the sign and the greeneries for different seasons would be just perfect. I got these beautiful wooden wall plate at the thrift store. I know it's a shame to paint over this beautiful artwork that somebody previously did, but for the purpose of my project they need to be painted, so I'm gonna go ahead and sand off a little bit of this. So I'm gonna smooth all this up so I can't feel this paint anymore. Now I'm giving these a good wash to get rid of all the dust. I have so many people that have seen my thrift store haul. They couldn't wait to see what I was going to do with these old lamps. Well, here it is. I'm cutting all of these wires and taking this all apart and getting rid of everything, just keeping the wood base. And yes, these lamps came in with the light bulb on them. Now I have to go in the garage and use some tools to get rid of that piece of metal on top here. These lamps are quite dirty, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a really good cleaning. Now I'm using my same white linen chalk paint as the two previous projects, and I'm going to give this one coat of paint, and also going to paint the plates in white as well. I'm using some wood glue along with some hot glue so that I can have some permanent hold and as well as instant hold to go ahead and be able to finish this project. As you can see on top, I have a little bit of a crease in there, and that can't be left like that. So I'm filling this crease with extra wood glue. I want to make sure that this is really nice and sturdy. I really don't want this to ever come apart. So I'm going to make sure that it's really nice and filled with some wood glue. That way I am 100% sure that nothing will happen to this top. Now that the glue is dried, I'm using some wood filler and I'm filling, and again, any crease that is remaining in there. I just want to give this a really nice finish. So by filling it with this wood filler, this will hide all of this crease that I don't want to see. My wood filler is nice and dry, and I'm gonna go ahead and sand it off and smooth it right out to the paint. When I first painted this piece, the very first coat, I wasn't expected that I was gonna have to do all this fixing up around the top, but that's okay, that's part of the deal. So now I'm gonna go ahead and repaint this whole piece 2 coats of my chalk paint. These are nice and dry and looking fabulous, but you know me, I love a distressed look. They could be left like this, all white, not for my style and my look. Of course, I'm using a sanding sponge and I'm distressing these pieces. I have wiped down both of my pieces and get rid of all the dust, and now I'm using my white wax by Bear, and I'm giving a good coat of this wax to both of my pieces with my wax brush, and I'm going to just let it set for about half hour, and then I'm gonna come and buff the whole thing out. The reason why I'm using the white chalk paint rather than the clear, it because it tones down the wood color that's shining through the white. It's not as obvious, it just tones it down quite a bit. That's why I like to use the white rather than the clear. You can really see on here the difference between the two. If I use clear on the first piece on top, you would really see that wood the way you see it there, and by using the white you tone it down quite a bit. I'm just using an old microfiber cloth and I'm buffing these beauties. And here is the final result. These are so nice. These old lamp was so tired looking, and this is a nice fresh new look. I displayed it with my flower jar, but also put a different style onto it with my riser and a candle and a little bird, and also it looks fabulous with a birdhouse as well on top. This piece can be dressed up in so many ways. This is the perfect piece for a farmhouse look. Well, that's it for this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed making these farmhouse home decor pieces. Of course, I want to know your comments down below, your thoughts. If you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, well, today is a perfect day to hit that subscribe button. So until next time, folks, you have yourself a wonderful day.